Welcome to the Work Hard, Play Hard podcast. My name is Rob Murgatroyd, and I am a former doctor turned lifestyle entrepreneur. Each week, I interview some of the best minds on the planet on the science of achievement and the art of fulfillment. Today's episode is a mini-sode that we call Fri-Date with the Wife. In these mini-sodes, my wife Kim and I deconstruct the strategies that we've developed over the last decade to not only grow personally, but to turn our struggles into lessons and create fulfillment in all areas of our lives. Excuses are over. It's time to live. Let's dig into today's topic. All right, before we jump into this episode, I want to invite you to be considered for my Work Hard, Play Hard Mastermind by completing an application at workhardplayhardmastermind.com. So this mastermind is not like any mastermind you may have been to or heard of, I promise you. This mastermind is for 6 to 7 figure entrepreneurs that are working too damn much and aren't taking the time to have amazing experiences around the world with an incredible tribe of people. So every 100 days or so, I drop you into new experiences that are specifically designed to elevate your thinking, to give you new ideas. Look, you get your best ideas not staring at a computer. And actually, this is the way high-level people really collaborate with each other. They do it over a glass of champagne, watching the sunset in the south of France. So if you are ready to do some fun stuff around the world and really, really want to level up your tribe in one shot, fill out an application at workhardplayhardmastermind.com. We'll jump on a call and we'll see if it's a good fit. All right, let's jump into today's episode. Kimberly Murgatroyd. And why do I call you Kimberly?
Because that's what Sophia calls me.
Do you think we're ever going to tell her there's an L in the name?
No, why would we do that? First of all, she should be calling me Mom, not Kimberly.
Kimberly. If you're listening to this and it sounds like we're recording this at times from the bottom of a volcano, it is because they are unearthing a school across the street from our house, and it is literally driving us insane with the rumbling. So it's the best we can do. We're surrounded by boxes, madness,
and construction
because we are moving to Italy next week, and it is a bit of a shit show. But listen,
that's not why we're here.
This is not why we're here. You knew what I was going to say. We're here to pay homage. Is it homage, or fromage?
That would be cheese.
To your post. You wrote a post the other day, and it was a widely received post, and I'd like you to talk about it, please.
Well, I wrote a post because I've been getting multiple messages from people who are kind of cheering us on with this move to Italy. And, we've been very open and honest about our reasons for moving. And we've also, I should say, have been very vulnerable in sharing that this is hard for you, that it's emotional for you. And the messages I've been getting is in the somewhat ballpark of what you're doing is so inspirational. Most people would never do this because they're afraid. And it provoked me to write a post about, is fear paralyzing you? And I think that for the reason that I wrote it, obviously, was us moving to Italy. But I think that this can go into any area of your life. And a lot of people are fearful to start a new business, fearful to ask the girl or the guy out, fearful to make a big life change. And I think there's many things they could be fearful of, down to small things. Like, I know that when I used to be a personal trainer, people would come into the gym and they'd say, I've needed to do this for 3 or 4 years and just hire a trainer, but I've been so afraid. And so I think sometimes fear is the biggest thing that holds you back. And in my post, I talked about how fear is not necessarily always a bad thing. It's in us for a reason, right? Fear is what creates the fight or flight. Your body gets triggered and when there's danger. But in, I don't know, maybe the last 20 years, it's like people are afraid of everything. And now it's like massive anxiety and the fear is paralyzing them. And I'm not saying anything about, a medically diagnosed anything. So don't feel that way. But I think fear is a perception that people place on situations that are not actually, shouldn't be triggering a fear response. And there's ways that they can circumvent that fear response. And so I wrote a little post about it. Do you have questions?
I don't have
what would you like me to share?
I don't have questions. I have a comment.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been doing a few interviews this week because people are interested in the fact that we're moving to Italy and they want to talk about it. And the theme that keeps coming up is what you are talking about, which is fear. And there were two pivotal moments in memory for me that created hockey stick growth. And one was, somebody asked me yesterday in an interview, what was the moment that you decided to sell your chiropractic practice and leave what you were doing for 25 years, not loving it? Like you said, for 10 years, you didn't want to do it, but you eventually left. Like, what was the moment? And I said, I remember exactly. It was my wife who said, you're done with this on December 31st. I don't care if you live in a cardboard box. I'm not going to spend another minute with you living miserably, and we are going to do this. And once that happened, the universe conspired in our favor, and things started to open up. It was scary, it was fearful, and there were lots of things that we had to do, but those things happened, and the change was able to happen. And then the second question came up, well, what was the moment that you were able to move to Italy? That one's a little trickier, but we can get into the weeds.
Again, your wife went to bed one night and woke up in the morning and said, I think we need to move to Italy in September.
Yeah, we can get into the weeds on that. But the moment that we made the decision where we said, okay, we're going to do this, what happens was the universe conspired in our favor. And so I believe that when you're trying to make a change in your life, that you've got to figure out, are you serious about this? Do you really want to do it? And if you are serious about this and you are really going to do it, then you need to have the balls, if I can say it, you need to have the balls to be able to say, it isn't perfect. I may fuck this up. I may get this wrong, but I've made the decision that I'm doing this. I heard something the other day. It was Juliana Margulies being interviewed by Rob Lowe. And she was discussing a line in the play, A Death of a Salesman. And in short, there was a scene where this guy's son was a lawyer who was about to argue in front of the Supreme Court. And the friend says to this guy, hey, your son didn't tell me that he's about to argue in front of the Supreme Court. And he said, he doesn't have to, because he's doing it. Mm-hmm. And it's a line that you hear on the surface and go, I don't really get the impact. But when you let that sit for a moment and you realize that when you have gone beyond making a decision and you've moved into what Tony Robbins calls resolve, where it's done, it's over, this is the decision. I don't want to talk about it. I don't need to talk about it. I don't want your opinion, and I don't need your opinion because I've decided that it's over. It's in that moment that the universe bends to your will.
So, but to get to that moment, you need belief, I think, and you need practice. And so fear of the unknown is what I think a lot of people wrestle with. And you and I, going back to when we sold the clinic, we had a fear of the unknown for many years. It was like, what would we do? How would we make money? California's so expensive, blah, blah, blah. And I think over the last 5 years, maybe a couple years more than that, you and I have gotten really comfortable with being uncomfortable and putting ourselves in uncomfortable situations. So selling the clinic and not knowing what was going to happen, super uncomfortable.
Why? Why have we gotten uncomfortable? Why have we gotten comfortable with being uncomfortable?
Because we practiced it. And once you practice, you make a commitment to, people throw around the term, I'm going to up level. I'm going to up level. You ain't doing shit until you get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Because when you move to the next level, that shit's uncomfortable. There is no next level that's cushy, okay? That shit is uncomfortable. That's the definition of growth, right? When you go to the gym and you break down the muscle doing your bicep curls or whatever you're doing, it's uncomfortable. So if you are not getting uncomfortable, then you're not growing and you are certainly not up-leveling anything. So I think the first thing is acknowledging that this isn't fear. This is an unknown. And instead of being scared of it, say, you know what, I'm going to welcome the unknown and I'm going to step into the unknown. And by the way, it doesn't need to be a cross-country, life-altering move. It can be, there's a lot of people, us included, that don't like to go to new restaurants, or us in Greece don't like to go to new islands because it's fear of the unknown. But practicing that and getting more and more comfortable with being uncomfortable and not knowing what you're going to order. These are really small things, but I think that's where it starts for some people. So welcoming the unknown is where the growth begins. So when you feel fearful about the next step or something, say, you know what? I'm going to push the fear aside. I'm not really afraid of this. It's just an unknown for me. So I'm going to take the next step on getting more comfortable with the unknown. And I think that's the first thing. And the way to do that is, for us, I think something that really helped us in the last 2 years is understanding that change is inevitable, right? We all know the people that refuse to change with the times, that refuse to, use electronic devices because they don't know how, that refuse to use a QR code because it freaks them out. Like, change is inevitable. And your ability to adapt to the change and to roll with the change is going to determine your outcome in life, because it's happening whether you like it or not. So the better you get at, again, change is unknown, welcoming the unknown, learning new skills, taking the leap, whatever it is, the more you practice that in a small sense and in a big sense, you will have a better outcome, a better mindset shift. And the last thing is adopting some sort of a motto or an intention. And for us, it started out as just repeating it and looking at it printed on a mirror and saying it every day. And it started as practice, but now it has become who we are. And our motto is everything is always working out for us. If you've listened to our podcast over the last couple of years, you know it. So when I look at something like we're moving to Italy, and I have a lot of unknown there, okay? There is a whole lot of things that are unknown to us right now. It can be overwhelming and it could paralyze us. But instead I say, everything is always working out for us. And it may even work out better than we anticipated. And so now that has become part of who we are and what we do and how we think. So did we get there overnight? No. We had to practice that shit. I had those words, and so did you, Rob, posted on our bathroom mirrors. I had it on the screensaver on my phone. I had it on my whiteboard. I had it on my desk. I had that everywhere, and we were every little thing that we thought about, we immediately said out loud, everything is always working out for us. And we accepted it, and we welcomed the change. And I think when you start doing that, so welcoming the shift, welcoming the change, welcoming the unknown, shifting your mindset around it by creating some sort of adopting some sort of a motto, like everything is always working out for me, or what if this worked out better than expected? I think those are the places that you have to go instead of leaning into the fear, which then triggers the anxiety, which then triggers the panic, which why do that? You have a choice. This is a choice, and you can make it every single day. Is it easy? No, but it's possible.
Yeah, I agree. Two things popped up when you were dropping the mic there. The first one is that we're designed to grow as human beings. Now, I didn't talk to the guy who created us or the girl who created us, but I'm pretty sure that part of our wiring while we're walking on this planet is for us to grow. So if we don't grow, the universe sends us no energy, and you're just surviving and you're just going through your life. But that's not the way life works. We get impulses, right? We get these impulses. I want to move to California. I want to move to Italy. I want to change this job. I want to change my body, whatever. You get these impulses. Whenever the impulse comes in, it's never easy to go from the comfort of where you are to the to go through the discomfort to where you want to be. There's all sorts of little ones. Like I've shared on the last podcast or two that I've been dying 1,000 deaths leaving California. And none of them are big, and none of them are like, oh my God, poor Rob. Don't worry about poor Rob. Poor Rob's going to be fine, right? These little small deaths are not comfortable, but in every one of them, I'm growing. They may not seem like much, but I'm growing. I'm learning to see something different on the other side. That's one. The second comment is when I was interviewed yesterday. Somebody asked me about, do you have a path for, execution? And, I said to her, when you think about your life 5 years ago, did you think that you were going to be doing a podcast and interviewing me? And I didn't even get it out. She started to laugh because it was so far from her reality at that time that she was even going to not be working the job that she was working, let alone doing a podcast, let alone me. Well, the way that happened in her life is because she didn't take a linear path. She took the next step, and then something completely off of the linear path appeared. And when that thing appeared, she stepped into that thing. So it's very easy as you're going through process of change and going through discomfort to want to hang on to what you know or hang on to what you think the next step is. And you don't always know. Sometimes all you know is like what's right in front of you, like 1 foot away, but you don't know what's 20 feet away. And, sort of like being willing to be in the moment that you're in and in the discomfort of it is where you get out of the discomfort because you're willing to go in it. But when you ignore it and you cling on to the thing that you're clinging on to, you can't step into it and no change happens.
Right. So there's a quote, feel the fear and do it anyway. It doesn't say feel the fear and go hide in your bed and put your covers over your head. Feel the fear, do it anyway. And so for everyone that has been reaching out about how inspiring our journey is and how they've been watching us create and manifest and decide and resolve to make these shifts in our life, I appreciate all the feedback and use that inspiration to reach your next stage, your next level of life, not just business, but life.
Well,
I think that's it.
I think we nailed it. So a little conversation. If you are somebody right now that is ready to make a change in your life and you're feeling the fear, I recommend you listen to this on repeat because it's normal. We feel it every day, but we're doing it anyway. That's it. Have a great week, everybody. Bye-bye. All right, thanks for listening. If you love this episode and you know someone that needs some help in either stepping up their work hard game or their play hard game, it would mean the world to me if you shared this podcast with them to help me get this movement out there. So if you like what you heard, head on over to iTunes, take 30 seconds and leave me a 5-star review, and I will be forever grateful. So until the next episode, excuses are over. It's time to live.